Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Or should I say good morning or good evening, depending where you are in the world. But good day. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Dune and Friends. Today we have a wonderful friend joining us from all the way from Calgary, Alberta, everybody. The big city where they have the, what is it? Normally the Calgary Stampede, the biggest show on earth, as they say. But today we're going to be just joining you here via the web here and have some conversations about business, entrepreneurship, and many other things, including music along the way as well. So let me introduce our special guest to you here before we have her join us here on stage. So Sue Stiles. Sue is described as one mother of a motivator, now a bossy and business solopreneur that others look to for advice, business savvy and personal persistence when they need hope, resilience, as well as tenacity to keep trying. Now, they say that everyone who is a master was once a disaster. And Sue Stiles speaks to this concept and transforming business and lives by really sharing true stories, as well as practical technical skills. And so she teaches habits plus actions equals results. Now, a business consultant in the real estate industry for nearly 2 decades, consultant to the #1 RE/MAX office in the world, in fact, Sue is an expert at high-level systems and organic lead generation, business practices, and her insights expose what is missing in the most of the small businesses that are out there. She is the host of Hindsight 2020, a video or a podcast series. She's also an author of 2 business books and owner of a business consulting agency, as well as business and leadership instructor at the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, SAIT. Now, Sue has also experienced the hardship of divorce and bankruptcy and single parenting. And she knows how to create something out of nothing, and has tapped into the tenacious ability for resilience and any entrepreneur would need to if they're going to be determined to reach their goals. And she clearly shows others how they can do that, really turning their stumbling blocks into stepping stones. And her website can be found at www.suestiles.com. And that will be in the comment, as well as actually in the video, as well as the notice earlier advertising posts. So with that introduction, folks, please help me in welcoming our friend all the way from Calgary here, Sue Stiles. Sue, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Dune.
Good. So this is the across the distance, all the way 3 hours to the south of where I'm at today. I'm in Sherwood Park, Alberta, and you're in Calgary, Alberta. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a bit more. Maybe do you have a story that takes us into the history and the background of Sue Stiles beyond the introduction that I've shared?
I love the introduction. Thanks, dude. When you were saying that, I was reminded of a little poem that I have read often. "'Tis easy enough to be pleasant when life flows like a song. But the man worthwhile is the one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong."
Wow.
And you and I mean, everyone, we've been through stuff, and are going through stuff right now. And I just think it's very timely to have conversations around the chaos, needing to pivot, and what are we going to do, from here on out. And so this, my whole platform is about finding hope. When there doesn't seem to be hope there, whether it's you're stuck in a job you don't like, or your business isn't going, or you're just challenged with your life. But if we can start here, the first time that I met you, Dune, was many years ago. We were both at a professional speaking conference. And I was there wanting to learn if it would be possible to become a speaker professionally. I was feeling like I'd been doing training and I was working full time in an office at the time, but I felt like it was time for me to sort of launch into my own business. And I came into a classroom, and
Mm-hmm.
just by chance, the instructor asked if anyone had a story, and you shared your story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to be honest, I don't know if I've even ever told you this, but I sat in that classroom. It was packed wall to wall, and I tried to hide the fact that tears were rolling down my cheeks
Mm-hmm.
as I heard you talk about the struggle of having to leave, was it Vietnam?
Vietnam, yeah.
And at 12 years old, jump into a boat where you actually may have lost your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just hit me, I mean, we might be saying anything today and it hits people in different ways at different moments of their life,
Absolutely.
but that hit me, and I heard your story, and I took it personally because I felt like I was leaving the shores of what had been safe
Mm-hmm.
and going out into a boat. And I really felt like, I don't know, I might die, I might lose my life here, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. But
Mm-hmm.
over and over again, just, God kept giving me these little prompts, like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, here's somebody like
Mm-hmm.
your story, Dune, is just,
Mm-hmm.
I really found it inspirational.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And you've touched my heart just now by sharing that story with me and with our viewers out there. And we can never be sure how we come across to others and how we touch others in various times as we interact. So I'm happy that a workshop that we both attended at the CAPS convention one of those years, a few years ago now, really helped you sort through some of the fears and challenges that you were dealing with. And you're doing awesome, my friend. We're going to share with our viewers some of the projects you're working on, some of the exciting things. And so thank you for sharing that story. Now, we're going to have a bit over an hour to kind of share on this. So we're going to hang around for a bit. It's not like a 20-minute interview where you go question 1, 2, 3. We're going to have a conversation, and we're going to share a few things, some videos and some photos and whatnot. Tell us, what are you up to right now? I know you are running some interview shows. You're doing some. Tell us about what takes your time these days.
Sure. Well, I have lots of time these days, as does everybody else. And, for the last almost decade or a couple of decades, I've been working in the real estate industry with solopreneurs, coaching, speaking. I've written a couple of books. Over this last year, though, when I've been speaking at conferences, other people were coming up to me, like the photographer, the videographer, the accountants, the mortgage brokers, from other industries, saying, Sue, what you've been saying to these real estate agents is exactly what I needed to hear for my business. And I know that the truth that helps business owners become good realtors, and I know
Mhm,
some very good ones,
mhm,
is also those are the same principles that help anybody try to launch and run their own business. Like when the business is you're an entrepreneur, or what I would even call a solopreneur,
mhm,
then they're the same principles. You have to do the same things. But the challenges, depending on the licensing course you took or the journey that led you where you are, if this is your first idea and you don't know how to run a business,
mhm,
then it's a lot of trial and error. And I know over 80% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years.
mhm.
Having been there and helped successful entrepreneurs, I really want to help others. So right now, I've opened right up and I'm helping all kinds of different industries. So even pastors in churches, mortgage brokers, stagers, interior decorators, sign companies, anyone who's running their own business. And I've suddenly, kind of came out my niche market and said, well, lots of people can use these basic business habits that drive the profit. So I've been creating new, more generalized speeches and presentations that aren't just real estate focused, although I have lots of
Hmm.
examples there,
Hmm. Yeah.
and writing a new book and singing songs and
Yeah.
eating lots of food. So I'm with you if you're on the COVID 15 or 19 or whatever it's up to.
Yeah.
At just trying to take advantage of this time, like most other people.
That's wonderful. When I listened to you spoke about that, the word convergence come to mind. Convergence. All these things that you've been doing over the last number of years, decades, and whatnot, are converging to create a very exciting kind of set of products and services that you're doing, and taking your successes in the real estate industry and market and whatnot into combining with training, and I'm hoping that you will also bring in some of the music and somehow bring that back into your work as well. That would be awesome. I'm going to do some of that myself as well. But we'll talk about more of the music side later. But what I like to do is maybe I'm going to pull up your website here. I know we didn't plan this, but let's go with the flow. So I'm going to just quickly share this website here. Tell us about what our viewers would find on your website if they happen to go there. And I'm assuming I'm on the correct website, so that would be the
Yes.
first thing to confirm.
Yeah, thanks for asking. That is, I hope what people will find is encouragement and motivation.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an idea and if you're wondering if it's possible, that's what I want to get together with people. Yes, we can do it together. I don't sell just a program. I don't have a trademark. It's me. I come together with people. And yes, I have the business skills and the one-on-one coaching there, but I also have, like you mentioned at the beginning, an element of real life, having gone through some hard times, bankruptcy and divorce, and having to learn to lead on my own. I really have a heart for people who are trying to lead on their own. So I think I'm fairly well known across Canada as a business coach and someone who will really take you by the hand and lead you, come on board with you to where you want to go. And I am bossy. I know what I want to say, and I am real. I don't sugarcoat things, and I like to, get in. Let's do maybe 3 or 4 months together. Let's fix all those gaps. Yes, sometimes clients say, "Oh, this session was a little bit like therapy." Well, if you needed that, then that's what you get. And then we get the business stuff, and I do writing for my clients and help them brand. But to me, my business coaching is we get in, we solve the challenges, and then I will support you from behind. So it's usually, shorter term. It's not ongoing. And I'm always here as a resource. So really economical, because me also, like a solopreneur, every penny counts.
So this is not a academically driven kind of exercise. This is not a theoretical exercise. This is very much a business kind of things that matter.
It's school of hard knocks, where the rubber meets the road. In real life, these are the things that you want to know. I don't go into a ton of mindset or positive thinking, although I certainly, occasionally can. There's a great many teachers on that. What there are not a great many teachers on is getting those results by changing exactly your habits, the practical, tactical things that you're doing. Yeah.
Wonderful. So is there any particular one of these areas that you'd like us to kind of go to highlight a bit before we continue our conversation, Sue?
Well, you could go to the Meet Sue page, and if anyone, always offer, as most I think do, give me a call sometime or send me a message if you want to chat about your business. And there, if you scroll down, you can read a bit more about me. And if that rings a bell, if it resonates, then we're on the same page. the kind of people who like, I think, reaching out and working with me are the ones who, you know, they've got a gift, they know they're good at what they do, but there's those handful of things that just, they just can't seem to get them done, or they're feeling disorganized, and they really just need somebody to come along for a little while and help them get where they want to go, which is usually scaling up to the next level.
Wonderful. Now, we just happened to stumble onto one of your books here. Tell us about this book, and tell us anything about it, or you know, that came out of
Sure.
it. Yeah, just sort of discuss it a bit.
Well, the Little Red Stick is all about the 5 habits that drive profit of
Mm.
what I have experienced. And one year I was down in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the one place in the whole world where they make Tabasco brand hot sauce is in
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana. And
Okay.
so if anyone knows me, they know I love my hot sauce. But
Uh-huh.
so we went on a tour. This Tabasco brand has been around for 150 years now. So it's longevity, it has a legacy. Still, people are working there from the same families. But
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, as we went through the tour, we found out that they had a big problem in that the sauce, the product wasn't always good.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't tell the whole story, it's in the book, but
Mm-hmm.
they discovered that each ingredient that they put in the hot sauce has to be perfectly ripe.
Mm-hmm.
If those peppers are not picked to perfection, then the whole sauce is off. And that is a lesson, Dune. Every ingredient that we put into our sauce or our product has to be picked to perfection. You know, there's no shortcuts to success. And that gives us a good product. And that ensures we're ripe for the picking if we're wanting people to pick us.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. This might be a great time to let's get into storytelling. Tell us the story of what led you to bankruptcy, and what took out of it, and how you transitioned through that journey. Because it's a wonderful story that you spoke. I know there's a video on the web out there. Folks can look it up later on. But maybe tell us a version of that story, if you could.
Sure. Yeah, about 20 years ago, I found myself a divorced single parent mother of 4
Mm-hmm.
children between about 6 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved, I changed jobs. I was trying to make a go of it, as
Mm-hmm.
anyone who's trying to lead on their own. And then I guess I was in a job with a real brute of a
Mm-hmm.
boss. You know, if you've ever had a bad boss.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so mean, and I just couldn't take it anymore. One day I said, God, if he's in his office after
Mm-hmm.
lunch, I'm going to go in and quit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of hoping he wouldn't be,
Mm-hmm.
but he was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, no, I put out a sign, and so I quit. But that ripple effect led into some really hard times where I couldn't get another job for years, and it led down a pretty dark, hard path. And that summer was my son. So I have 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. My son was turning 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought, oh, it's such a special turning point. And yet I knew there was no money, zero for presents or anything. But I thought, well, we have to eat. And I said, what would you like to have for a special dinner?
Mm-hmm.
And he said he'd love to have ginger beef.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't make ginger beef. You have to go to a restaurant for that. I am not an Asian cooker.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hit and devastated that I couldn't get him beef. And so I thought, how can I do it? How can I get him what he wants? And the only thing I could come up with, the only idea was to go to my neighbors and ask them if they might have any bottles that they didn't need that I could take to the bottle depot, and bless their hearts, they did. I don't know if they knew what was going on, but they gave me what they had, and I took them to the bottle depot, and I got just enough money to buy an order of special ginger beef, and I cooked a big pot of rice. But at that moment, I just thought, how can this be my life?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be here. It wasn't anything that I had done. I didn't feel like, why am I being punished? It was just confusion. And
Mm-hmm.
when people, maybe you get sick or divorced or you don't have enough money, and these thoughts, these bullies in your head, they
Mm-hmm.
drag you down. And I'll tell you, I was down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the best piece of advice I ever received, I found then that next week I found myself at a bookstore. I was in Chapters, very upset, really depressed,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't afford a coffee, but I was just looking for an answer. And after a while, I gave up. I was like, there's nothing here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going home. And I was going to walk out the door, and my eye caught this big black book.
Mm.
And I grabbed it and I opened it and I flipped just to this page. And the words inside that book said, things never work. And
Mm.
when they don't, that's the time that you have to make them work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have the book. I kept the book in arm's reach.
There you go.
Integrity.
Mm.
Integrity by Dr. Henry Cloud, because I did go back and buy it after that. But what it was saying to me was, hey, Sue, I know you've tried. I know you've been doing everything you can. It hasn't worked out yet,
Mm-hmm.
but you've got to keep trying until it works out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to keep trying until. And so just feeling like I've had a message,
Mm-hmm.
turn my focus around, turn my spirits around, and I was able to change my life.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you have given back to uh, various organizations along the way and continue to do so. And thank you for sharing that story. And this might be a good time to share some of maybe a video clip with our viewer. There's a video clip that I'm going to bring up, and it is titled, I think it's 3 minutes and some. The white pickup truck. Tell us about that before I cue it up here.
Well, just before COVID hit,
Mm-hmm.
we managed to do an event. This was the last thing before there was no public in gatherings. And
Mm-hmm.
I just was sharing with the attendees from all different industries that the important thing is to be authentic and bring you to your business is really what sells it. And I share a story of, there's so many stories. You can't make this stuff up. Driving around one day in a pickup truck, and how it really, hopefully, will help you market better when you think about things in this way.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna cue it up here. So give me a second. The entire screen 2. Yeah, let's take a listen and watch this here, folks. We're gonna bring it in, and we're going to go like that. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
Today you are you. You are truer than true. There's no one alive that is youer than you. Now you just need to figure out, who are you and how can you reveal that to all of the people that you know. A few years ago, my husband and I went out to do errands, and he had this, a white pickup truck. It's old white pickup. And we're going out for our errands, and we stopped at a corner store and needed to run in just for a second. So he parks there, he stays in the truck, and I go in the store and do what I need to do. And I come back out, and I go to get in our truck, and the door is locked, which kind of ticked me off. And so I look in the truck, but he's not there. So then I'm like, I went in the one place that we're here for, you weren't there, and so I start looking around for him. And then I see him a few parking stalls down, looking at me and laughing from inside our truck. Anyone ever done that before, try to get in the wrong vehicle? Because when I came out of the store, all I was looking for was a white pickup truck, you know? I get in the wrong vehicle quite a bit. But when I was a little girl, my grandparents' car had an antenna that came up. And on the top of the antenna, they put a little bauble, like a little basketball or things, back in the day.
And so when you'd be looking for your vehicle, you weren't just looking for the Ford, you were looking for the cactus, up in the parking lot. That's what I want you to feel like. Get your antenna up and put a little bauble on the top so that people can find you and that they're not just thinking about, oh, I need a realtor or whatever your service is, but they're thinking, I need the realtor who has this bauble on the top. Tabasco land, it's on Avery Island in Louisiana. I went for the third time last year or so, and they had something new this time. So we tour the facilities, we go see how they make Tabasco, we go to the store where you can buy like golf balls and music and all different flavors of Tabasco, but this time, after you've been walking around for a couple hours, they made a restaurant. So you didn't have to leave and go somewhere else to eat. Now you could sit down, you could have pulled pork mac and cheese and po' boys and alligator balls and all kinds of fun Louisiana food. But the thing that I liked the most was they had a Caesar bar. Just a wide open Caesar bar. Like when you take your kids to the buffet and they get ice cream? It was like that. You buy the cup, you buy the alcohol, and they had a whole bar of hot and spicy, original, all the fixings, beans, onions, anything you could think of. And I tell everybody about how much I love that Caesar bar, and I can hardly wait to go back. What is the experience that your clients are having with you when you are working with them?
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that with our viewers. That's awesome.
That's exactly it. It's what is that experience that clients or your viewers or your attendees or your audience is having with you. And it doesn't matter if it's in speaking or coaching or working at your job or being a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is always looking for the experience with you. And I know you probably know the show Songland, where they take a celebrity and match them with a new song and they work on these songs. And over, they're looking for something that they can take and make their own. And you can see it in the works. It's just that genuine, authentic brand. If we can learn to let ourselves out, there's genius in there. Sometimes it's just hard to see, it gets so buried down from life.
Yeah. Awesome. So again, the word experience is such a powerful word because when people go to concerts, they're not going there just to listen to their song. They are going there to have an experience. So those who realize that and can deliver on that is going to be more successful, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up some photos and we're going to talk about these photos. And it's a great way for us to get to know you a bit better through the various sort of aspects or, dimension of your work. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So give me a second to just get that up here. So
Sure.
do you know which is going to be your first photo that I'll invite you to talk about?
I think so. I think it's when I was working with a wonderful group of women.
Yeah. Let's see that. Yeah, let's see that. Tell us about this photo.
There's
Tell
my
us the
girls.
stories that came from here.
Here's what this photo reminds me of. And I think because many people who are wanting to start their own business might be starting from a place like this. You're working full-time somewhere and you have an idea that you want to start your business. Well, I worked full-time in many real estate offices. I was a manager of training for brokerages. I've instructed, at the real estate board and now at SATE. And so, there's a safety when you are an employee with a job. But for an entrepreneur or for a musician, whatever your gift is, there's a point that comes where you start feeling that nudge, like you can go out, you can jump, you can go forward and start your own business.
Mhm.
Now, if someone does want to start their business, I have a whole bunch of things that they might want to try and do while they still have a job.
Mhm.
This has been a big challenge for people in oil and gas here in Alberta. So many laid off. They're given a package. They say, well, I'll go. I always wanted to be a realtor, so I'll go and take the course and become a realtor, but they were not prepared. And so a
Mhm.
lot of people try and fly out of the nest, but they really haven't grown their wings to sustain them yet.
Mhm.
And this was just before I launched my own business, Maximize Results Consulting, and did business consulting full time rather than managing
Mhm.
a team full time.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And tell us about this photo.
So, whatever you want to do, there's always a starting point. You don't start at level 10 out of 10. And so, I always ask people, what's the starting point for you? For me, I had this idea to teach and train about real estate. I had already written a book called Be Extraordinary Right Where You Are for employees, because a lot of employees hate their jobs.
Mhm.
So how can you do the best? And so I started teaching a course based on that first book at the library.
Mhm.
When you have an idea, then you will search for the outlets. Where can I do this? If you're a musician, you can go sing at a coffee shop, or jam somewhere. There's always that first point. And for me, I started at the library, but you know what happened?
Hmm.
So I was teaching at the library for about a year, this course with Ann Nakaska, so we partnered and taught a course. Well, I went to the library theater one time, and this huge, beautiful theater where they featured David Chilton of
Hmm.
The Wealthy Barber.
Yes.
And I watched David Chilton, and he was fantastic in this beautiful theater. Well, meantime, because of my bankruptcy, and I always want to volunteer and give back, I was a volunteer with Money Mentors. They're a nonprofit group if you're having money challenges. And my main contact was also in this talk by David Chilton. So at the end, we bump into each other as we're getting autographs. And he says to me, Sue, we would love to have you come and speak right here, in January. Well, I thought I hit the big league. I thought I was so lucky. My dreams were all coming true. I was going to be speaking on a stage just like David Chilton.
Hmm.
And so I got all ready. I had my good clothes on, my high heel shoes. I walked to this theater in a snowstorm, and I'm all ready for a theater full of people to really just hear and get what they need about bankruptcy and managing your money.
Hmm.
Well, I get to the theater and it's dark.
Mm.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm at the wrong place. But the guy said it was here. And so I go into the main part of the library, and I realize it's a session up on the third floor.
Mm.
So then I take the elevator up to the third floor, and there in the corner, there is, 10 chairs set up.
Mhm.
And I did what I thought was going to be my big first speech, to a room of about 7 people, 3 of which were homeless people who were just probably trying to get warm. It
Mhm.
was such a dive from what I thought it was going to be. I was so devastated. My
Mhm.
expectations were here,
Mhm.
experience here. But in hindsight, when you look back, don't many small businesses and success stories have a rough beginning?
Mhm.
I know mine sure did. So that
Yes.
was thought I was going to make it right from there. And wasn't that a reality?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for great stories, by the way. Keep up telling us these stories. I recognize her as well as you. Go ahead, tell us about this
Yeah.
photo.
Well, so after after that experience, God, the universe just keeps humbling me over and over. You press in, you keep doing what you feel you want to do. And at a certain point, I thought my business coaching could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're so in the forest, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing everything I thought I could do, things I did for other people, but I just wondered if I needed some help doing them for myself. And so I hired Jane Atkinson, and she has worked with some world famous speakers. And I thought, if anyone knows about the business and how to help me get my message out there, it would be Jane. And so I hired her. I put my money where my mouth was. And that was my first great experience with having someone else coach me. And she was actually the reason why I changed my website right away, because it was not telling my story. And subsequently bought her books. And that coaching, I keep getting coaching ongoing from professionals who can help me in my business.
Great story. Yes. I have listened to her, the Wealthy Speaker. And of course, now there's a Wealthy Speaker Volume 2, I think, came out. So that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, you were into music as well, my friend. Want to join a band?
I have always been in a band of some sort. Just when I had young children, I was pretty much a stay-at-home mom, but in the evenings, I had some time while they were at home. And so I put on, this was one of my first concerts in BC in the Okanagan, and I put on a fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And this wonderful band helped me, and we sang a lot of my original songs. I'm a songwriter as well, and as well as some good cover tunes. I love singing, but I realized as I went forward I toured the Okanagan, I released some CDs, but I realized that lifestyle was really not for me, because being at home with my children and the family was really top priority. And the other thing I realized was I actually don't have the best, I don't have a superstar singing voice. I can hold a tune and I love to harmonize, but to be honest, I don't have an exceptional gift that I think would take me to a level I would want to go at. But I learned so much from creating my CD. I worked in television, and I did a documentary, producing songs, writing books, everything, every product that I've made, I've learned something about how to make it better the next time, how to increase my skills. Again, you can't start at this level. You have to work your way up. That's why I always say, whatever your stumbling block is, whatever you feel is getting in your way, that is an opportunity to just kick it over and step on top of it. Use your stumbling blocks as stepping stones. Every time you run into a challenge, that's a challenge, you solve it, and now you're on to the next level.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. In other words, in solving life challenges, we grow ourselves in a very, very sustainable way, right? The growth that we get from grappling with big challenges in life that almost would kind of tear us down or possibly kill us in some cases, we just are at a different level now, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So here, San Diego. Every time I see San Diego, remember that show back in the 80s, the Three's Company? Every time I see San Diego of any kind, I'm thinking, that scene they have beginning of the show, right?
It's my favorite city in North America. And and here's the thing, I don't have a picture of me speaking in San Diego, because this was my stepping out. Now, I had been coaching for a few years. I had been speaking. Oh, wait, I hadn't been speaking that much. And my question was, can I earn a living speaking and sharing? I know a lot of people do, but I guess, do I have a level of a gift that could sustain me? And so I put out a test. I did a test, and I said, if I could get a paid speaking gig in a city I wanted to go to, then that'll be proof to me to keep going on this road, because I could do this. And so I I looked up, I did the research, I talked to 3 associations in 3 different cities, and one woman in San Diego talked to me and said they'd have me down. They paid me and they put me up in a hotel overnight. And so I flew down to San Diego. But here's what happened that I find interesting though. So you have a sign and it says, yes, you can do it. Woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, okay, well, this is meant to be then, and I can be a speaker. And so I traveled to San Diego. I get to the hotel. I mean, I'm nervous as can be, but I'm excited. I go and I speak to the International Association of Administrative Professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I do everything I could think of. I have my speech all there. I try to wow them, but to me, I forgot a couple of things. I forgot a couple things I was going to do. And I just didn't feel like Tony Robbins up there, in my mind. I didn't feel like the professional I thought I would be in my head. Now, I sold out of books. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. But to me, I thought, wow, I thought I was going to be, Tony Robbins or Oprah up there. And I wasn't. It just, So I went back to the hotel and I just kept beating myself up about it. And this is why I talk about those bullies in our heads. We beat ourselves up about it, but I couldn't stop it. I just was, I can't believe I missed this. And I wasn't as good as I hoped I would be. And so to calm myself down, I said, you know what, Sue, you tried it. It didn't work like you thought it would. So let it go. You don't ever have to go and speak in public again. Just go back, keep coaching one-on-one. And so I went to sleep and I thought, that's what I'll do. And the next morning I got up, I was going to spend a few days in San Diego. As you can see, I went to the SeaWorld there and everything. But as I was getting ready, I popped into the shower and my bullies started saying, boy, you sure bombed yesterday. I was going to sing a song and I didn't. You forgot this. And I said, stop. I'm not going to do it anymore. Just let it go. I'm not going to speak professionally. And I looked up and the shower head, written on the shower head, were the words, speak, man. I did not know there was a hardware company called Speak Man, but there is. And they have that on their shower heads. And immediately I started crying because I knew I was supposed to speak a message and help people from the platform. And I've been working hard at it ever since, to become better, to do a better job, to help people, to be more professional. I didn't start at the level I thought I would be at, but every day I just always say your daily habits will determine your yearly results. Every day I study, I practice, I try and understand what people are needing and trying to meet them where they're at and getting better. And years later, I am making a living speaking and coaching.
Wonderful.
Thankfully. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think I skipped one accidentally. So here you are doing.
So yeah, I'm coaching every day now with people one-on-one, in person or virtually now. And, making sure that they're getting what they need out of their businesses.
Yeah. Oh, this is when handshakes was in style back then. Just kidding. With the COVID. I can't wait until we get back to that. I miss all that.
I do too. We miss that in-person touch. We will definitely get back to it. But we've learned something, in the meantime, haven't we? We've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we learned some stuff. We also learn how precious it actually is when we do have those opportunities. So just a higher level of appreciation. So here you are at one of your trade shows and conferences. Yeah.
So since then, I've been blessed to speak all across Canada And I don't know, one of the photos there, I'm at a conference for realtors, which was my big goal, my
Mm-hmm.
big hairy goal, to speak in Toronto at Realtor Quest, to a large room on a big stage. And this was the trade show that went with that.
Mm-hmm.
And, we need to have those goals to reach towards. They make us, they command that we step out of our comfort zone and do better. And so, just kept plugging in until I reached the stage that I really, really had wanted to be on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there, I just said that. Yeah. Your daily habits will determine your yearly results. And
Nice.
here's the thing, if you're working at something, don't worry that it has to be the best right out of the gate. Just do something every day. It really is the compilation of what you've done every day that will give you the results at the end of the year.
Absolutely. And for those who are into accounting, it's compound interest.
That's right.
Good old
Totally.
fashioned compound interest.
Yes,
And
yes,
your book
totally.
again. Tell
And
us
so
one more thing about the book. Yeah.
I've sold the book all across Canada. People are using it for book clubs because there's 5 daily habits. So you can have,
Oh,
5
nice.
weeks of phone calls, and how to master solopreneurial success, and some habits of champions are in there as well.
Hmm. Is this? I think I saw some high five in your literature. Is that where it came from? Or
Yes, I do have a high five technique for, anytime someone calls you and is asking about your business, I have a technique in there that will help make sure that you connect with those leads right away. And you can memorize it just by using your fingers
Mm,
as high five. Yeah.
there you go, folks. Get the
Yeah.
book and find out about all these wonderful tips and tools and techniques. And here you are in that particular conference you spoke of and speaking there.
Yes. Yeah. And so there's a conference. Now the interesting thing is, after the conference where I'd hit my big goal, I started having some challenges with my own mindset.
Hmm.
Um, and even though it was so funny, even though I was making more, than I'd ever made, and I was reaching my goals, I had an internal fear that I
Mhm.
was going to be bankrupt again.
Mhm.
And anytime I didn't have enough clients on the roster, or I wasn't scheduled to speak at enough conferences, I was freaking out
Mhm.
that I might be poor and in poverty again. I was hit so, it hit me so deeply. It was also almost like post-traumatic stress
Mhm.
disorder when I was worried about money because I'd been bankrupt.
Mhm.
It really hit me. And what I discovered after even hitting big heights was that there's always things that we need to learn. I
Mm.
had some limiting beliefs, and I never even thought I had limiting beliefs, or whatever you want to call them.
Mhm.
But when you reach a new level, you have a new opportunity, I think, to grow.
Mhm.
And it was a very wise coach that I had again. And I was chatting with her and telling her, I was always trying to make sure I was going to be earning enough money. And she just, something came through her. It was powerful to me. It hit me right in my spirit, saying, hey, you need a paradigm shift. That bankruptcy was
Mhm.
not done to you, it was done for you.
Mhm.
And for the first time, I'm sure I maybe even had heard that before, but for the first time, it hit me and I realized there's benefits that I can offer other people because of what I've been through. And so when you asked me right at the beginning, what are you doing now? Well, part of that is having crucial conversations and speaking to associations about what if you're having money challenges right now, what it's like to go through bankruptcy and how to come out the other side, and how to keep your mind in the game. And so first of all, we need to know that when we have a roadblock, it could be a limiting belief, a fear, whatever, that's an opportunity to keep going.
Mhm.
But often we need help for that. It's really challenging to overcome roadblocks on your own. So having mentors, coaches, personal coaches, business coaches, reading good books, a word of life can come to you from so many different ways. But we need other people really to share their story with us.
Mhm.
I'm sharing more than ever really vulnerable times in my life I never thought I would speak about,
Mhm.
but to help other people. And you need to share your stories to
Mhm.
help others. We need to be allowed and open to share those, because you never know who it's going to help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there's a similar photo that I put there as well. I use this for the advertising post there. There you are. What do you have in your hand there? Tell us more about that.
I probably have a little miniature bottle of Tabasco.
All right. Of course.
So when I tell my Tabasco story, I usually give out, if anyone, I always ask, can you guess where the only place in the world where Tabasco is made?
Mm,
And then I give out a miniature bottle of the Tabasco hot sauces.
mm,
And it's a part of branding, like that the little white truck story.
mm.
I authentically heard something that resonated. I love a Caesar. I love my hot sauce. And when I hand those out, people, maybe they remember me as a business coach or I had good business lessons, but they ultimately will remember me when they pass by Tabasco on the store shelf, or when they shake some
Absolutely.
on their, on their
Yeah.
meals,
Absolutely. Like,
yeah.
similar to when I do training, corporate training, or university teaching, I would tell people, I want to tell you a story so that later on, when you pass by a gas station, you'll be thinking about this lesson, right? And
It's
so,
very helpful.
have we, as an audience, earned enough of our keeps here so far to have you share with us where was that only one place that actually make Tabasco sauce?
There's
Have we
only
earned that
one
right?
place in
Yeah.
the whole world. It's on Avery Island in Louisiana.
Oh, really? I did not know that. I'm into hot sauce quite a bit. In fact, there's one in my fridge right now, and yeah, yeah.
Well, here's the thing that Tabasco brand, I mean, when I speak about this all the time too, there's so many lessons. They didn't just stop at the one sauce.
Hmm.
When you get your business model and it's working for you and you've got your ripe ingredients, what else can you offer? What else do people want? What else
Hmm.
do people need? They might need scorpion hot sauce.
Hmm.
They might need some raspberry chipotle sauce.
Hmm.
So Tabasco has many, many hot sauces. They might have mild sauce, if you don't want it full on.
Hmm.
So, what else can we offer in our business so we don't stagnate?
Yeah. Once you get people's attention, serve them with what they need.
Right on, right on.
All right. Beautiful photo of.
Those are my children.
Hmm.
And so, here we are, however many 20 years ish later, and we're still in relationship. We still get along, and we've come through it together. The only thing I can ever say about parenting, because I don't give parenting advice.
Hmm.
I got lots of mistakes I can tell you about.
Hmm.
But I will say there's something special about unconditional love.
Hmm.
If children, all of us, if we can feel like we are unconditionally loved, that is a gift that we can give our children and give ourselves. And, I don't want anyone who ever hears me to speak to ever feel like they are alone. I always want people to know, hey, at the very least, you've always got me on your side. You can go to my website. I have blogs, my hindsight videos, business coaching. I am here for people at the very least. But at the very most, there's the creator of life who is here to help every single person. And he sure helped us. Many miracles have been over those years to help us along the way.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing these wonderful photos. And there's one of you. Where was this? Nice colors, green and purple.
Yeah, so
Coast.
that was the Banff Western Connection Conference at the Banff Center, or no, sorry, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone is looking for someone to speak and share a message about business habits and tenacity and possibilities, I'm here to help all across Canada and North America, because it takes people to help people. And so, we're all in this together. How can I help you? How can I meet your needs? If you need a speaker or a coach or a friend, I'm here to help.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
And podcasts. Yeah, right. So if you have a podcast, I've been on a multiple great hosts. And then I do have my own on Spotify called Hindsight's 2020, because the world's gone to different platforms now, right?
Yeah.
I think there was a picture, my first webinar that I ever did online as we learn technology.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up that later on as well. Maybe just show our viewer where that is at. But here you are doing some training, perhaps?
That was my first webinar that I ever did. Over a year ago, and I took a picture so I could always remember, what has gone on, what's transpired over the years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Oh, another trade show. Another event. Yeah. Another association. Another business workshop that was in Nanaimo in BC. I spoke there in 2018 and 2019. And last year I was at a different place in February. So, sometimes you just hit a roll and one thing leads to another. That's really how the success happens.
Mm-hmm. Momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, those goofy kids. There they are again.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for sharing the stories behind these photos. And again, I always say to people, yes, we need to get to the kind of the content side of things. Let me just bring myself back in here. And yes, we need to get to the content side of things, but really we also need to share other aspects of our lives as well, right? So that's great that you do that. See if I can fix this issue here. Okay.
Well, when we have a crisis, crisis brings clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've all realized how important family is, our relationships are. And, yes, the business, I'm passionate about it. And if you own a business, you're passionate about it too. But it does come back to the love and family. And for me, I know I was inspired by, I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but I'll just share this little more personal thing. Is that okay, Dune, or are you?
Actually, we have as much time as you want. So we're not ready to wrap up. We're wrap up when you're ready to wrap up. So we can
it's like going. To respect the time, but
no, we can keep going.
Perhaps this might be interesting to somebody. As I had a client who actually a lot of our business coaching took a turn towards more personal therapy, and he had lost his mom 9 years ago and still really struggled with the grief in that. And so one thing we never know when our time is up. Mm-hmm. You might feel like you're never going to, pass away, but it's going to happen 100%.
That and Texas.
I was thinking of my children and how I hope that when my time comes, that none of them will ever be stuck in the grief. And so I thought, is there anything I could do to help them for when my time comes? And so what I did was last summer, I went and bought some beautiful memory boxes. And I put some, each of my children, I have a special song when they were youngsters that I would sing them when they were going to bed. And as they got older, if they were feeling sick or scared, I'd always sing their special song. And that's been a special memory. So I recorded each of their special songs on a USB and I put it in the memory box. I made a little presentation, like a PDF that I printed out of how they had grown over the years. And I wrote them a special card of how proud I was of them. And that when it is time for me to go, hey, I'm fine to go when it's my time. I'm not scared about it. And I don't want them to get stuck in the grief, just to encourage them to do what they need to grieve and to enjoy their lives. And so I made them these special legacy boxes that they all have. And it really, my children were moved to tears when they got them. Of course, you don't want to think of your parents leaving, but I don't want to keep those things hidden. This is something to talk about. And so let's talk about it, and let's be open about it. And if something ever does happen, when it does, then my children have a memory of me. They can see me on the video and on the songs that I'm singing there. And I hope, it's just my responsibility to try to do what I can while I'm still here, and make sure that they're okay. And so here I am. This was over COVID. We turned back to music, so many of us. Well, I wrote a lot of songs, and this one, I still like it. And I wrote it, or my daughter helped me sing it. And so she's got a really good voice on her. And we just played it on Facebook, and hopefully people enjoyed it. It's a great song for graduates or weddings. And it was called Dream On.
Wonderful. Let's take a listen. So this is one of your original songs, one of your many original songs. So tell me the name again. Is it Dream On?
Dream On.
Okay, 2 words. So Dream. There we go. I just like to display the title. Tell me if I got it correctly stated there.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Well, let's take a listen.
We've just one night to make it last, one night to dream together. The dusky colored sunset skies dream on. So close your eyes and take a breath. Waited for forever. Let this night, this only night, dream on. Let's have this night. Let's have this moment. Let's take a ride that'll never end. Just you and I, dreaming together. If we wait too soon, we'll start all over again. I'm standing here against a wall. The band is playing slowly. I've never danced this with someone real before. Take my hand and lead the way. Who knows what we'll discover? We've got tonight, this holy night, dream on. So let's have this night. Let's have this moment. Let's take a ride that'll never end. Just you and I, I'm dreaming together. And if we wait too soon, we'll start all over again. Dream on, dream on. And if we wait too soon, we'll start all over again.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you guys need to perform in and around Alberta. We have lots of musicians, friends in your circle as well as my circle who have seen this. So they'll be expecting more from both of you.
Oh, dear. Well, thank you for playing that. It's a blessing for me to hear it.
That was awesome. That was awesome. as we round the corner here, we got time. We got time. No rush. As we round the corner here, are there things that you want to share that we haven't gotten to yet? One of the things I want to do is maybe just give our viewers a quick preview, even just to show them where the site is of the 2020 broadcasts. Would that be something that might be of value? Maybe I'll bring it up.
Sure. It's on my YouTube channel, Sue Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a playlist on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, so I listen to Spotify all the time. If you go to Spotify and look up Hindsight's 2020, it's also a podcast on there. So if you prefer to listen while you drive, and on, I had this idea a couple years ago, because I don't like making mistakes. I always like to learn from other people's mistakes. And I have found it so beneficial over the years, just talking to other people and asking them questions that we can learn from. And so I finally decided I wanted to do a show called Hindsight's 2020 and invite guests on who are at a certain level to share, their journey or their insights. And I have interviewed clinical psychologists, Canadian fashion designers, world champion athletes, as well as high-level business people. And, it is very interesting how often the same bits of information, the same things, the same principles people have learned over time just resonate. So they're all there for your viewing pleasure on YouTube, on my Sue Styles channel, or Spotify, if you just look up Hindsight's 2020.
You bet. So there's Sue Styles here, but so Hindsight 2020 is a different YouTube channel, yeah?
No, it's on there. If you stay on that channel, you can go to the playlists.
Mm-hmm.
Just go, yeah. And so at the first playlist, I think there's 13. There's Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, I see.
And and so once you click there, you've got, one after another with my introduction of why I'm doing it, and then interviews of all the guests. So if there's any guests that you're interested in hearing, pop on there and have a listen to.
Yeah. So you got all of them kind of just in a playlist here. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And 2020, this is a year where we could be using those numbers with some significance.
Yeah.
Even, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made it in a good kind of combined nicely with the year we were going into, didn't it?
Yeah. No, love it. And tell us, as we sit around the corner here, I want to hear a really either insightful story or a funny story. Do you have one of those to share? It can be long. Just tell us a story.
I think I gave you all my stories already. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. Well, I don't know if it's a funny story or not. But here's the thing. When we have challenges, we have to change. Mm-hmm. And if we have changes, we usually are challenged. And this is the truth of it. And, we all have the same kinds of challenges. So a few years ago, I happened to hit sort of that menopausal time in a woman's life where she gains all this weight. Mm-hmm. And we're us girls, we're always fighting against that. Well, my oldest daughter, Amy, was getting married. Mm-hmm. And I went to try on dresses for Mother of the Bride. And I realized, oh my goodness, none of these dresses, these clothes are just not fitting me like they used to fit me. And I had my first experience. I thought, I've got to go try on some of these Spanx or girdles, as they're called. And it was such a terrible, hilarious experience because you get a whole workout when you are trying those things. It's like a core, your legs, your arms, everything. I couldn't believe what was happening in that changing room. And then, you're so tired out after trying things on. You just buy the cheapest one that you can get. And this whole experience really just, I always used to think I was getting too old to be successful.
Mm.
and going through changes, and changes in your appearance and all of these, again, those bullies in your head. But if anyone out there is feeling like, oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I whatever that roadblock is, every time we have a change, it brings challenge. And that is another thing to overcome that roadblock. And I'll tell you, used to work for me fine to buy a certain size and have bikinis in the summer. It doesn't work like that anymore. And that's okay, because now, I change a story in my head, which everyone, you can change a story in your head. Now, thank God I have enough wisdom to share, that I'm old enough to have had some experiences. And, you can always turn those hard moments. Hey, if you ever have a hard story, like speaking in front of 7 people, 3 of which are homeless, or, having to try on Spanx in a changing room, you can turn those hard moments always into a story. And then other people will appreciate the vulnerability and the honesty that comes through.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you again. You did not disappoint. I asked for one more story, and you got it there. Now, as we wind down here, again, really appreciate your time and sharing of your stories and insights, as well as music, which is probably a bit of a bonus, because we probably have enough business and insights to share without even going into the music. But I'm so glad we did, because want to hear from your whole self, not just the business side. Now, as we wrap this up, if I ask you to sort of cite out 3 words that sort of you want our viewers to keep top of mind, they could be any random words, 3 words that you want them to keep top of mind that represent what we talked about today. What might those words be?
Well, if there's anything I'm here for, it's to help you maximize your results.
Maximize your results. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing those 3 words. And on that note, again, on behalf of our viewers who are watching now as well as later, thank you so much for spending time with us, Sue. Sue Stiles, over the last hour and a bit here, folks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dune, and everyone who's listening in. Maximize your results.
Maximize your result. So on that note, viewers, now and later, take care of yourself, take good care of one another. Till we meet again, have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. Bye-bye.